Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mr. Wiz here. If you are new to this channel, we build video games. So right now, we're actually not building video games. Right now, we're looking at animation. And we're going to use our skills on animation, plus a few new skills I'm going to teach you guys today, to build a music video. You might not know this, but programs like Unity are used for a lot more than games. A lot of video companies have used Unity. Even companies as big as Disney has used Unity on some of their shorter projects. So yeah, we're going to look at how to do basic animations with Unity. We're going to make a music video. So I've done a little bit before recording. I've created this scene with some assets that I've downloaded in the past. I really love these guys. They're low poly, but they look great. So we're going to use them, and we're going to give them some dancing. We're going to add some music. We're going to do some fun stuff like that. All right. So if I click on one of these characters, they're already pretty well set up. You can see it already has an animator on it. It is ready to be animated. It does not have a controller because we haven't made one yet. It does have an avatar. If I click on that, it takes me to the projects, and I can click on this to see a little more information. If I look at the avatar, there it is. I can see that it's pretty well set up. Most of the joints are correct. It is missing a couple things. If I look at the fingers, I'll notice that it's missing fingers. It only has 3 fingers instead of 5. But honestly, that's not a big deal because the animation we're doing isn't going to use individual fingers, right? It's going to be full body dance movements. So having 5 fingers isn't going to be important for what we're doing. It does look like we're missing a bone right here, though. The upper chest. So if I'm looking over here, his upper chest bone says none. But I think it should be that one right there. This is, yeah, that's the upper chest. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and assign that since that hasn't been assigned yet. So this bone is called spine 3. So let's go ahead and assign spine 3 to the upper chest. Normally, you don't have to change much with these guys because usually they're mapped out pretty good. But for some reason, it didn't assign that bone, so we're going to go ahead and assign that bone. And that should fix that up a little bit nicer. But I'm not worried about the fingers. So even though we have the little red alerts, nothing I need to worry about. So character is not in T-pose. Well, he's mostly in T-pose, right? So it should be good enough for what we're doing. Let's get back to it. I'm going to apply the change that I made of adding the bone. There we go. And then the other characters should be kind of similar. Look like they use the same avatar. Good. All right. So yeah, we are ready to go ahead and start programming these guys. Before we do that, let me add another character, though, that I know is not configured correctly. One that is going to need a little bit more work. So I also downloaded, before starting the video, this guy called Cardboard Man. This is a character that one of my students found a couple of years ago, and he thought it was really kind of fun. So this guy is a dude wearing cardboard armor. So armor that's made out of cardboard. It's kind of a silly character. So first thing, of course, he's showing up as pink. As we talked about in my last video, that's happening because I'm using the advanced graphics. So I do need to update his graphics. So if I go to materials and I find Cardboard Man's graphics there, I can go to edit, rendering, and I can upgrade the materials. And that should make them better. There we go. All right, so there's our Cardboard Man. And if I click on Cardboard Man, he does not have any animation. He doesn't have much on him. I need to make sure that he's set up as a humanoid. And let's take a look at how he is set up. So if I go to where I downloaded him from, the Cardboard Man folder, I go to his mesh. There he is. If I click on him, here's the information about this model. And I can see some stuff. I can see his model, stats, some different things about him. But what I really care about is the rig, where it says animation type generic. That's going to be a problem. In order to do the dancing animation that I want to do, I need him to be set up as a humanoid, right? Remember we talked about in the last video, humanoid means you have a head, 2 arms, and 2 legs. Clearly he has those features, but the model was never assigned as a humanoid. So I need to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to switch generic to humanoid. And now it has some setups here about the type, custom or standard. We're just going to do standard. And then we'll check it when it's done to make sure it is set up correctly, right? We're going to apply it. And what it's doing right now, once we apply it, is it's creating that mapping that we just looked at for the other characters, and it should have aligned the structure of the model with the bones, the skeleton that he needs. So if I click on the arrow, there he is right here. Now I should have opened it before doing that because this was not in here a second ago. This was created when we hit apply. It created this piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and click configure avatar to take a look at it, and there it is. It does look like it's lined up pretty well. Nothing that I'm seeing that we would necessarily have to move. This guy does have all 5 of his fingers, so he has a nice T-pose. So yeah, everything's good there. Now, if once we start doing the animation, we notice that it's not moving quite right, like maybe his head is not quite working right, we could move some of these points. But for now, let's leave it the way it is and just see how it looks, right? There's no reason to change it unless it doesn't work correctly. Okay, so I'm going to click on the arrow to go back to my scene. So now he is set up as a humanoid just like the other ones, and I can go ahead and create an animation for him. So I'm going to click Add Component. I'm going to search for Animator. We're going to click on that. Boom. So now we have the section for the controller and the section for the avatar. So for this guy, his avatar is going to be the one that we just created, this one right here. So I'm going to drag and drop that into where it says avatar. There we go. Cardboard Man's avatar is right there, and he is ready to learn how to dance. All right, so we're going to create a controller here in the next step. But before we do that, we need to go ahead and prep our dance moves. So once again, I've already downloaded them. So you'll see them in, I think it's Creative Core Animation. Yeah, here they are. So I got these dance moves from Mixamo. I did not get them from the Unity Asset Store. The Unity Asset Store does have some dance stuff you can find if you look for it. There are some dance moves, but not a lot of them, if I'm being honest. You're pretty limited by what you can find for free anyways in the Unity Asset Store. There's this one, there's a couple others, but not a lot. So what I use is the website Mixamo, which has a whole lot of free dance animations. And you can see them here. A couple of years ago, I just went ahead and downloaded all of them. And I use that package for myself and for my students. But if you're new to this and and you're not one of my students, I would recommend looking through Mixamo, finding the dance moves that you want to do and going ahead and downloading those. And once you have them downloaded, remember you can import them by just importing a new asset. Or if you have them all in a bundle, you can go to import new asset for an individual thing. Or if you have them in a package like I did, you can import package, custom package, right? So these are all the dance moves that I downloaded a couple years ago from Mixamo's website. What I need to do is if I click on them, over here where it says rig, the dance moves are also set as generic. In fact, if I go to animation, if I try to run the dance move, I can't see it. No model is available for preview. The reason no model is available for preview is because they don't know what type of model it's going to be. So what I need to do is I need to set up the animation, the rig, to humanoid, just like I did with the character a second ago. Now, since I have so many dance animations, rather than doing one at a time, I'm just going to go ahead and select them all using the trick that you should already know by now if you've been watching these videos. I'm going to click on the first one. I'm going to hold down the shift button on my keyboard. I'm going to go scroll all the way down to the bottom of this list. So there's a whole bunch of dance moves here. And since I'm still holding shift when I click the bottom one, it selects all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and go to rig, generic, set it up as humanoid, and apply. And now it should be mapping out the animation to work with a humanoid figure with a head, 2 arms, and 2 legs. This does take a little bit of time, especially since I have so many dance moves. But when it's done, that means the dance moves should work with any humanoid character that I put them on, which is going to be very useful for what we're doing. All right, looks like it's just about done. There we go. My cursor is still spinning, so maybe it's still working. There we go. All right, so now I should be able to click on any of these dance moves. I should be able to go to animation, and I should be able to see the move. So there it is. So here's the dance move called Swing Dancing number 3. There's a bunch of stuff in here. Here's Thriller Part 3. You'll find just about any type of thing you're looking for, you can find in here. Hip-hop dancing. This one is called Hip-hop Dancing number 5. So lots of great stuff. All right, so we've got dance moves, we've got dancing characters. Well, they're not dancing characters yet, but we got characters we're going to make dance. Now let's get them to dance. I'm going to start with the cardboard man. He's going to be my front character, and then these other guys will be my background dancers. That's the way I'm going to set it up. All right, so to make my cardboard man dance, first I need a controller. So I have the avatar, which is important, but I need a controller. So the controller is what tells us what moves to actually do. We've done animation before, but we've never really edited a controller before. So this will be our first time working with that. But the controller's job is to control the animations, especially if you have more than one animation, right? So right now, if I click on it, there are a few pre-made a few pre-made controllers from other animations that we've done, but I want to go ahead and make a new one. So in my asset folder, I'll just do it on the main page. We're going to go ahead and create a animator controller right there. Create an animator controller. I don't have a folder for this. I could make one if I was going to have lots of controllers, but since this will probably be the only one I'm using, I'm just going to leave it in the main asset folder. So we're going to call this the dance controller. All right. If we double click on the dance controller, it takes us to our animator. Now my animator is up here in my scene view tab, up here next to my scene view and game view. You can put yours somewhere else if you want to. Just make sure it's someplace you can easily see it and add stuff to it, right? All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want you to go to your animations, these different animations we're looking at, and I want you to pick one. Whatever you want the first animation to be. This one's kind of a nice little hip-hop sway. That's not bad. All right, I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to drag and drop this animation into my animator controller. Boom. When I did that, it created this arrow, and it also set it up as orange. Basically what it's saying is that this will be the first move. The way the animator controller works is you have the green block for the start of the animation, and the red block represents the end of the animation. And then you can create the ones that happen in between. The arrow signifies the direction of the movement, right? So as soon as it starts, this will be the first move that it does. Let's actually just take a look at what happens here. So for my cardboard man, we're going to give him the dance controller that I just made, and I put one dance move in. And now when we play the game, he should do that one dance move. Let's see if it works. Oh, yep, he's doing it. He's doing it. Look at you. All right, so my camera's in a weird place. I should probably change my camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my camera match what I'm looking at right here. I don't think I've ever showed you guys this trick. If you want to move something to the same position that you're at, which is usually used for camera, I can click on the camera, and I could drag it around and try to line it up with my shot. Or I can go to Game Object and choose the one that says Align with View. Do you see that? It can also be done with the shortcut Control-Shift-F. So Align with View. And what that does, I have the camera selected, and I click Align with View, and it moves the camera to my position. So now in the main camera view, you'll see it's the same view that I had. That could be a really quick way to move the camera so you don't have to try to rotate it a bunch. So there we go. There he is doing the first dance move. He's feeling it. He's having fun. There we go. Looks good. Now, I'm not sure how long this move is, but I think he's looping. Let's take a look. While it's playing, I'm going to switch back to the animator. And it's not showing. Oh, it stopped. All right. I'm going to move the animator. I'm going to move the animator down here below the game view so I can see it while the animation is happening. Sometimes, doesn't look, oh, I guess I have to destroy, I'm sorry, I have to click on them. There we go. With the cardboard man selected, I can actually see what's happening down here. So you can see the blue line moving marks the animation. So it goes all the way to the end, and then it looks like it stopped. So if I wanted it to repeat, what I would have to do is I would have to connect this to the exit, to the red one. So if I right-click on the orange box, click Make Transition, and go to the red one, now I'm telling it, I'm creating this pathway. I'm going to hold down Alt to move the screen a little bit. Here we go. So when the game starts, it'll do the dance, and then it will exit this controller. So watch what happens. Let me select him again so we can watch it. So there's the blue line showing that he's doing the hip-hop dance. Everything looks good. And once he gets to the end of it, I want you to see what happens. He gets to the end, and it immediately restarted. So when it hits the exit block, that red exit block, that basically forces a restart, and it goes back to entry. So that's kind of fun. Now here's the cool thing about it. I'm going to delete this transition. Just doing this delete button on my keyboard there. There we go. And I'm going to put some more dance moves in there. So the cool thing about this is we can put as many dance moves as we want to. All we really have to worry about is the order that they're in. So let me find some more dance moves. That first one we gave him was called Hip Hop. Arms Hip Hop Dance is what we gave him. So let's see if we can find another fun one here. Got some breakdancing. All right. So let's say I decide to give him that breakdancing move next. All I'd have to do is drag and drop that into my controller. And now I can connect it with a transition. So I can right-click on the first one, make a transition, go to the second one. And I can keep doing this with however many dance moves I want to. So maybe I want to do this one next. Transition, boom. Now I'm just doing the first few in the series. Of course, pick whatever dance moves work good for your character, right? If they don't look good, then I can reset them up. And then I'm going to make a transition for the last one to go to exit so that it restarts. So let's see what this looks like. That was the first move, I think. And then once he transitioned to the second move, this still looks like the first move. Okay, this is different. Oh, there we go. There's some new moves. Oh, he's sinking the floor a little bit, so we got some bugs. That's okay. We can figure that out. And it looks like he might be restarting. All right, cool. So let's talk about the ones where he wasn't quite moving correctly. The first one was pretty good. Second one looked pretty decent. That one looks okay. All right, that one he sank through the floor and it didn't quite work quite right. So that one's got some bugs. Okay. Also, I should have probably built into getting him to the headstand position first. Is there a move that gets him closer to the headstand? Oh, now we're doing belly dancing. We don't want that. All right. So here's what I want to tell you guys about that. Sometimes the dance moves don't fit the world well, or they may move too much, or they might not move enough, or some weird things can happen, right? So in the same area, when you select the dance moves, in the same area where you have animation, there are things like bake into position. And they occur for rotation, positions, and so on and so forth. So what that means is, do they move around in the world while they are dancing? So for the head spinning, which was the big one for us, there was a problem there where he fell through the floor, right there when he was getting back up. So we need to bake into position his Y, and that's going to stop him from sinking through the floor. So I'm going to select bake into position Y, and I'm going to apply that. Now let's see what it looks like. Oh, do you see how the animation changed already? Instead of sinking through the floor, he stands up on the floor. So when you bake into position something, you're saying it's not moving in that direction. So this time I just baked the Y. On some of the other dance moves, you might want to bake the X and the Z. So X and Z is referring to everything this way, right? Left, right, forward, back. That's the X and the Z. So if while they're dancing, they're moving and you don't want them to move, you would bake their XZ position. That way they're not moving forward, they're not moving backward. In this case, I'm not worried about them moving forward and backward, but I am worried about them moving up and down because I don't want them sinking through the floor. So I'm going to bake the Y position. Same thing with rotation. If you don't want them to rotate, sometimes when they do spins and stuff like that, they might end facing a different direction than when they started. If you don't want that to happen, you need to bake into position the rotation so that they end in the same facing the same way they were facing before, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and test it now that I've baked the Y position. Now, I only did it with the one move, so if there's any problems with the other moves, I see his feet are kind of sinking through the floor a little bit on these first moves. It might not be a bad idea to bake those into Y position too, just to see what happens, see if it works any better. Okay. Well, he didn't sink through the floor that time. Obviously, the move didn't quite line up the way I would want it to, but that's because I kind of quickly threw these together. So if you were doing this, I would recommend you to be more patient and take your time, picking the dance moves that you think work well together and put them in that order, right? Okay, so I showed you how to do all that. So we only have one character moving, though. How do we get our other characters to move? Here's the cool part. It's very easy. Because we just created the dance controller, all we have to do now is give these other three characters the same dance controller. And now our background dancers will do the dance with them. And there we go. We got ourselves a dancing animation. How cool is that? How cool is that? Now, of course, if you're going to go full-fledged with this and do a music video like I would love you to do, I wouldn't stop here. I would add lights and animate the lights. I would animate the camera. So anything in the world can be animated. So think about that. Think about where would you want the camera to go? Maybe you want it to zoom in. Maybe you want it to go around them. You can have multiple animations at the same time. So you can create an animation where the camera zooms in and moves. You could have it moving and rotating. You could have lights that change color, or maybe they flash, right? Maybe the lights move. You can do all that stuff using the animation skills that I've shown you guys in these last few videos. So definitely have fun with that. If you want help finding free music to put to your music video, of course, the asset store does have free music, but I would highly recommend using this website, bensound.com. It has a lot of great music. You can just click on where it says free music and select the genre you're interested in. And you can find lots of great stuff here. This is what I use for a lot of my programs. When I want good quality free music, I come to Bensound. So, okay. I think this is enough for this video. Whoops, I just found a bug. Some of my characters are moving around the screen. So I might need to bake their XY positions, because some of them have been moving. Yeah, that's a bug. That's a bug. So remember what I was talking about with baking the XY? I definitely should do that for those dance moves. That way they're not moving forward while they're dancing. All right. So yeah, take some time, find some cool dance moves, put some music to it from Bensound or from the Unity Asset Store or maybe somewhere else. Of course, if you post it online, make sure that the music you're using is music you have the right to use, right? If you learned something new today, click that like button. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.